This morning, my grandmother calls me. I haven't, normally I call her every other day, but I haven't called her in like a while, and she was a little worried about me, so. But the first thing she says when I get on the phone with her, she's 86, pushing it. She's like, yeah, I remember I went and got you. Because a couple weeks ago, a family member told me and someone else that my mother abandoned me when I was about 6 months old. She left me with a stranger. And then she had me for another 6 months. And then one of my aunts, one of the older girls, found out that I was the baby that her friend had. And I don't know how she found out, but she calls my grandma, she calls mom, she's like, I found Clayton, but we don't know where's Eva? So my grandmother tells me today, just right out of the gate, she just starts talking, and she hasn't talked about this in a long time. She just revealed it to me last year that my mother asked her to adopt me. That was a weird moment. So she tells me, yeah, she didn't want to give you up. And I was like, because I was there for 6 months. It was like a year had gone by, and no one knew where my mother was for half a year. She struggled with things or whatever, and she would hitchhike all over the country. She did so for 4 years before she had me. And then when she had me, she gave me up to a stranger for about 6 months. And then my grandmother found out and then went and had to fight her for... That's what my grandma said. She's like, yeah, I had to really convince her that you were mine. You were my grandson, and I had to take you. And she didn't want to give you up. I just like, oh my gosh. So some of these details she's revealing, because she has dementia to a degree, so I'm like, I gotta take it for what it's worth, but she is remembering some of these bits and pieces that happened 40 years ago. And so the last couple years I've been learning a lot of this stuff about my origin story and my family and my mother, who's an eccentric person. I don't know who my mom was. I only knew her for 6 years. She died right before I turned 6. I have about 4 years of memories with her, but it's kind of a mystery. My mom struggled with a lot, I've learned, and I buried a lot of it in my childhood. When she died, I remember when all that happened, I kind of lost it. I went nonverbal. I didn't talk. I was a ghost of a kid. From kindergarten to first grade, it wasn't until 4th grade where it was like 10 years old, where my teacher was like, are you okay? And it was the first time anyone asked me in 5 years if I was okay. I looked at her, I'm like, I'm okay. But by this time, I was a 10-year-old. I felt like a 20-year-old in a 10-year-old body, and I acted like it. And so I'm still piecing together the puzzle. And this morning my grandmother revealed that she had to kind of fight for me to take me back. And then once she did, she had me for another 6-7 months. So I think it was a year. I was around 18 months before my mom finally came back. And then my grandmother revealed this last May. She says, your mom wanted us to adopt you. I was just like, I literally said this. I was getting ready I was going overseas. I went on a pilgrimage. She was kind of forwarding me some money because it was still in the mail, and I had my spending money, so I had to borrow it from her. Out of the blue, she's like, yeah, your mom asked us to adopt you, but she didn't know the other details. I just learned some of those a couple months ago from my aunt. And so now I guess it sounds like at 18 months, my mom finally came home after a year of abandoning me. And then she asked my grandparents to adopt me. So she still didn't want me after 18 months in a year to think about it. And apparently from what my grandmother put her foot down. I mean, this is 1982. Going on 83. Yeah, this was early 83. I was born in October 81. My grandmother basically told her, you got to take care of him. And she wasn't the best mom, no. I almost burned down the house a couple times. No, I mean, she struggled to take care of herself, and yeah, I lived in a corner with a couple blankets, and I was hungry a lot, and I never showered or bathed. I had to feed myself. It was weird. So, more to come as I am being told and to figure out more. So stay tuned. The mystery of my childhood.